Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. So I wanted to give you my thoughts on the new, Maybelline Dream Urban Cover Foundation, as well as the Super Stay Full Coverage Under Eye Concealers. I've had these for a couple weeks now. Excuse me, and I've been using them, and I have some thoughts to share. So just a little bit of logistics. I got both of these at Target, and they were, the foundation was actually $11.99, so $12. And the concealer, let's see if you can really see that. Let's get in there. Yes. And the concealer were $9.99, so $10 each. I'll start with one and work to the other. So let's start with the foundation. The foundation is the Dream Urban Cover Full Coverage Protective Makeup. So the idea of this is for those of us that live in a gross in terms of environment, smoggy areas, that kind of thing. This is formulated with antioxidants to help protect skin from environmental aggressors. As we know, especially like living in big cities, it says urban right on the front. You know, you get all those like the car emissions and different things like that can affect your skin, and has been proven to. So this makeup kind of claims to help combat that, as well as provide SPF, which is SPF 50. So antioxidant enriched pollution protection. I live in an urban area. I rarely wear, not because by choice, but just like my foundations don't have foundations, coverage products with SPF in them that aren't SPF themselves, like my sunscreen or moisturizer with sunscreen, but like just to have a foundation. So that's really good. I know the It Cosmetics CC cream, that's like the most common one I know to mention with the SPF in it. But anyway, so I have the shade 362 Truffle, which actually turns out to be a perfect match for me. And the reason why I say actually is because if you watch when I wear this foundation on camera, I don't know if it translates. When I edit the videos, I see it a bit, not as much as when I'm seeing it like here in my vanity, but when I initially put this foundation on, it's like Oompa Loompa orange, and it just pulls orange on me. And I was like, oh God, and I fix it kind of like with powder, set all that, and I felt like it was going to oxidize on me, and it did not. Blend it out with my powder, everything. This is a perfect match for me. There is one shade darker. There are about 20 shades in the collection, and this is the next to the darkest shade, but there is a shade darker. So this is 362 Truffle. You get 1 fluid ounce, 30 milliliters, a standard size foundation, and it comes in this squeeze tube, and this is what the applicator looks like. Okay, the consistency is a normal liquid foundation. It's not too runny where if I turn it over everything's going to drip out, but it's also not super thick that I can barely squeeze it out of the tube. So I would say standard liquid foundation, that consistency. Now on to the review of this. I don't really like this foundation. I'm going to tell you the main reason. The coverage is there. It says full coverage. I definitely can be built to full coverage. One pass, you know, without like any help from concealers underneath or anything. This is going to give you a medium coverage, but it can be built up a bit to full. I don't like the finish of it. This stuff, in my opinion, just never sets. Now, I have oily skin. I always set my face with powder, whether the foundation needs it or not. But most of my foundations, like I don't go in with powder right away. So like I put my foundation on, then I put like concealer on if I'm wearing cream. Like I do a few things before I get to the powder step. So by the time I get to the powder step, my foundation has set, and it has set to its true finish before me powdering it. And so I treated this one exactly the same. Griff, you just bust in here. I treated this one exactly the same, and it never set. Like, and I don't know what the finish is supposed to be on here. It never set. My face continued to look wet. Not like dewy, just like I'm waiting for my moisturizer to set or dry. Wet. I'm really oily. I've had this makeup on for quite a while, but it wasn't like it didn't look good. It didn't look finished. It didn't look like, okay, this is a dewy finish. It looked like I'm waiting for this to set. I just really can't explain. Once I set it, it was fine, but it also didn't hold. I just don't like the finish of it. I don't really know what the claim of the finish is supposed to be. I should have probably looked that up, and I don't have a phone. But yeah, I just didn't like the finish of it. It set, when I set it with powder, it did go matte, but it didn't stay matte for very long. It's not a really, in my opinion, it's not a long-wearing foundation for oily skin. Dry skin might enjoy it, but it's not a long-wear foundation for oily skin because my oil broke through, my shine broke through. It didn't oxidize, but yeah. Things sat on top of it nicely. Concealer sat on top of it nicely. The powder did, like I said, sat on top of it nicely, but it just didn't. It wasn't the bee's knees. This is one that I think with that sunscreen, mix it with your favorite foundation that you do like the finish of, or something like that, or something that's too dry, too matte. This could probably mix, now that I know the color is correct for me. But yeah, I just did that finish, man. I can't, you know, I'm a matte girl, and even with, like, I'll take a satin finish or even a dewy finish or a natural finish because I'm going to powder it, but like it just, I guess I don't know. I just didn't like the finish of it. And I think that finish contributed to not being long-wearing matte. Like, I don't know. Yeah. So that's what I feel about that. So use at your own risk. I really enjoy Maybelline foundations. And that's a bummer that I didn't like that one too much. But you move on. We move on. We live and we learn. Right, Griff? Right. So, on to these concealers. I'm a little disappointed in these two. So these are the Maybelline Super Stay Full Coverage Under Eye Concealers. I was more psyched about these concealers than I was about the foundation. Why? Because I love the Super Stay foundation. This is the Maybelline Super Stay foundation. This came out year or two ago. I'm shade 362 Truffle. I didn't even refer to my like inventory when I bought this. I just guessed, because I knew the other one looked dark. So I just guessed. But it's the same shade as this, and this is a match for me. So this is the Super Stay, again, Super Stay 24-Hour Foundation. This stuff is bomb.com. Full coverage, matte finish, everything I love in a foundation. Long wearing, bomb. So you're like, okay, Super Stay Full Coverage Under Eye Concealers. Now, you're like, oh man. Oh man, I don't dislike these. Like it's not a dislike. I'm going to continue to use these. They just they underwhelmed me because I was expecting so much. So let me explain. I got the shade 65 Deep Bronze, which is a perfect shade match for me. And then I got Tan 45, which is a little bit lighter and it does well to brighten. I definitely wish I tried an even lighter shade just because you guys know how I like my under eye. But these are decent concealers. They're decent in terms of, like, they're not light, medium. Let's do medium. They're not full coverage concealers. They're not full coverage concealers. They're not, yeah. I've used these under the eyes. I've used just one under the eyes. I've used these two, this one to brighten. I've used this one as like under my foundation. You'll see in a look when I did just like a no liquid foundation. And they work well for that. They even out the skin tone. But I was expecting these to be the new, not Shape Tape, but like that level of coverage, because this foundation is like that level of coverage. And so I was a little bit disappointed with that. Now, in terms of set, they don't crease under the eye. They do need to be set. They have a, they don't set to matte. They have like a almost satin finish. I wouldn't go too far to say dewy, but these concealers, I would set my under eye, but these concealers definitely need to be set. If you're not a set them, and they won't crease. You don't have to bake them. You don't have to bake them, but you should set them. And they won't go anywhere. They don't crease. They're decent. But again, these will be used for brightening, like brightening, but not necessarily coverage. You have deep under eye circles and things like that. You're not going to get the coverage that you need with this. If you color correct under, you know, you're going to do some color correcting underneath and all that if you really want these to seal the deal for you. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. It's the coverage that's not there. The finish, I mean, I set my concealer. You should set your concealer. So I'm not too concerned about the finish of the concealers as I am about a foundation. But yeah, they're just not super full. I'm a little bummed. But I like the shades that I chose, and I really wish I got an even lighter shade, and I might go ahead and do that for brightening, because they're really pretty for that once your under eye is corrected and things like that. So I think that's how they'll work best. This now, why would I not mention this? If you combine this and this, I guess that's an intended purpose. You'll get the best look you can get out of these, but this is working harder. Like, this is a full coverage foundation. This is really what's covering your stuff up, not that. You see what I'm saying? So they look good together, but that's because this is carrying the team. These can't carry anything on their own. So, I mean, they could, but not that super stay full coverage like this foundation. So, right, Griff? Right. So that's my little mini reviews on those. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about any other products mentioned in this video, feel free to leave it down below. I love you all, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.